Is burning fossil fuels damaging our environment? By Ashley Reyes. When it comes to the environment, a certain quote written by Barry Commander comes to mind. Environmental pollution is an incurable disease. It can only be prevented. This means that what we have done to the environment so far cannot be changed. It can only be prevented from happening again, which means we can only stop it from happening again. The burning of fossil fuels today in the world is one of the main reasons for ecological damaging, including global warming and the destruction of coral reefs. The three main reasons for my presentation are the amount of fossil fuels we use daily, the causes of using the fossil fuels that we do use, and how we can progress the environment from not using them. My first main reason is the amount of fossil fuels we use. Today, the amount of fossil fuels being used is rising extremely. Some of the examples are burning petroleum for the use of transportation. Almost everyone drives a car or takes a bus daily from one place to the next. The more transportation we use, the more we are endangering our ecosystem, because that means the more carbon dioxide we are producing that is being released into the atmosphere. When more carbon dioxide is being released, the more damage is being done to our different parts of our environment. As you can see in this picture, this is a picture of a car and the fumes that it's putting off whenever it's being run. Every day somebody uses one car or one bus, and this is what is being put into the atmosphere. This really makes a difference because the atmosphere is taking 3 times as much as it should be when people travel to places that are close enough to walk to. Secondly, the causes of using fossil fuels. Many of the causes of using fossil fuels are the damages that are being done to our ecosystem. For instance, the more carbon dioxide that is in the atmosphere, the more coral reefs are dying. This is because burning fossil fuels causes a change in climate. The change in climate is drastically causing coral reefs to lose their zooxanthellae. If water temperatures stay higher than usual for a week, or for many weeks, the zooxanthellae would depend on some of their food. The zooxanthellae they depend on for some of their food leaves their tissue. This means that the corals that they depend to get food from, their zooxanthellae starts to leave their body, which means they can't get that food from that source. Without zooxanthellae, the corals turn white because zooxanthellae gives the corals their color. White and healthy corals are called bleached corals. Bleached corals are usually weaker and less able to combat disease. This means the coral can't fight off any diseases that it has and cannot produce food for the coral. Another is ocean acidification. This is making it harder for fish to find homes. This is making it harder for the ecosystem to survive when many of the fish populations are decreasing because they are losing their shelter. When coral reefs die, another fish loses its home. As you can see this picture, this is a before picture of a coral. As you can see, it's a dark brown with a lighter brown at the top. With the change in temperature and the water temperature, it can turn to this. As you can see, the fish are swimming away from it, and it is a bright white color, which means that it cannot produce any more food, fight diseases, and it is losing its zooxanthellae. According to the article from Science Daily, burning remaining fossil fuels could cause 60 meters sea level rises. It states the planet's remaining fossil fuels resources would be enough to melt nearly all of Antarctica if burned, which would cause a 50 to 60 sea level increase. This means that the amount of fossil fuels we burn daily could destroy Antarctica. It could melt it all away, which would cause the ocean to rise even more. And when the ocean rises, that can cause so many other ecosystems to be damaged. Lastly, the ways we can progress the environment. There are many ways we can limit the use of fossil fuels. For example, if you're close to a destination, instead of using transportation to make it shorter, walk and get a little bit of exercise in each day. Just by you not taking transportation that is close by and walking, that can save the ecosystem to global warming and to ocean acidification and the bleaching of corals. As the article Burning Fossil Fuels has a measurable cooling effect on the climate from Science Daily, it proclaims, burning fossil fuels has a direct impact on the solar radiation reflectivity, reflectivity of the clouds, thereby contributing to global climate change. Global climate change also is one of the main reasons for the corals losing their color. If the water temperature is higher than usual, that's when the corals start to die. If the corals start to die, that's when the fish lose their homes. So everything about burning fossil fuels all plays into one big part of the ecosystem. Other ways are when you see factories have this big old smoke cloud, that means they are burning priceless fossil fuels in that factory. This big cloud is going into the atmosphere, and that is what is causing these corals to lose their color and look like this. So if you see factories burning off fuels, or if you see cars putting off exhaust, that means that more corals are dying or becoming bleached. The amount of fossil fuels we use, the causes of using them, and how we can progress the environment can change the perspective of how important fossil fuels are. There are many reasons in the world why burning fossil fuels hurt the ecosystem. We can't always cure the damages done in the ecosystem. That means that everything that we have done so far, all of those corals that have died or are being bleached, we can't change that. They're going to stay bleached unless they can get their color back or their zooxanthellae back. But if the water levels are still at the same height and they are not dropping for usual many weeks, that means they're not going to get their color back, or they're not going to be able to produce food, fight off diseases, and fish won't have homes. So if we can't undo what we have done, we can only prevent them from happening again. We are the only people that can make sure that zooxanthellae can stay inside the coral by reducing global warming and not burning as many fossil fuels. The more fossil fuels we burn, the more global warming goes higher and higher and higher. The higher global warming goes, the more corals get bleached and they die, or they cannot produce food, or they cannot fight diseases, which causes them to die. When coral reefs die, fish populations slowly decrease. But if each time it slowly decreases, that means that a big decrease in fish will come overall over a period of time. The more fish that decrease, the more other populations of fish will decrease because they won't have any more food sources. We can only stop what we have started, but we can't erase what we have done. What has happened, but now we need to prevent what is going to happen if we don't preserve fossil fuels. Thank you.